Chaos could be coming to America, but first, let me talk about what's going on in Brazil right now. Uh, Protesters, as you may have heard, protesters have stormed government Brazil buildings in Brazil. Uh, Thousands of Bolsonaro supporters have stormed the key government buildings, the president's residence, the Supreme Court, and they're doing it because they're protesting corruption. The president was elected in what they believe was a rigged election for this same guy who was elected in this rigged election was uh, released from prison for massive corruption just months ago by a Supreme Court justice who he had appointed when he was in office. And so it looks they're smelling a rat down in Brazil that this is rigged, and Bolsonaro was not justly denied uh, of his he was denied in a bad election. So that's what's going on down in Brazil, and expect this could be coming to a theater near you. Let's hope not, but I'll talk more about why it could be. At any rate, with all the raiding, the violence, the uh, vandalism that's going on, the outrage, the raiding of buildings, you'd think you were in Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, maybe, or even Minneapolis, Minnesota. Uh, at the same time, California is massive atmospheric rivers are flowing over California and delivering a lot of precipitation, extreme rain and snow in the mountains is causing all kinds of trouble for them. They've got up by this time, by just hours from now, they expect to have as much as 6 feet in the above 7,000 feet in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So you're talking about a massive amount of snow on top of fire scarred hillsides, which could cause more and more problems with flash floods. And so that's a big concern because of mudslides are a very scary threat if you're in the way of a mudslide. They can be absolutely devastating, and that's what they're predicting. And in fact, at the same time, they're having 110,000 in the Santa Barbara area, 110,000 customers without power. So good luck charging your electric cars due to the ongoing due to all this heavy rain in Montecito, Santa Barbara area. Uh, the whole town of Montecito has been evacuated, and this happens 5 years from the anniversary date when on a previous mudslide, 23 people were killed. Now, does the weather plan to do things on anniversaries, or do terrorists try to do things on anniversaries? Uh, we know that terrorists often plan things on anniversaries. Now, in my book Americanaut by Roger Weston, I cover weather warfare in depth, uh, including the HAARP weather weapon, which is not fictional, and I get well into that. And in Americanaut, and so many of people are might be wondering, is something going on here with these atmospheric rivers? And that's a good question. We also have something called natural weather. Weather happens. You get extreme weather here. It's been going on forever. Extreme weather there. So it's hard to know for sure whether it's engineered by malicious forces or whether it's just weather. You know, uh, uh, the camera crews can flock upon any big storm and go, oh, this is extreme weather. Well, in my whole life, which has been a long time, I've seen extreme weather that I haven't seen it getting any worse. In fact, I've seen it not maybe even I've seen more extreme stuff in the far past. So it's hard to know, but nevertheless, there is big stuff going on right now: mudslides, uh, heavy rain. Uh, you've got you've got thunderstorms predicted in California. Now, normally I wouldn't think this is a big deal. Thunderstorms, like, really, who cares about that? But it's unusual for California, so they're making a big deal out of it. Um, you know, but when we have a lot of things going on like this, we have to have compassion for people. Remember, we have to have compassion for people who are suffering and who do get in the wrong do get their house flooded or other things. There's a lot going on that could cause people problems. Uh, we've got this massive snowpack I talked about, up to 6 feet within hours in the Sierra Mountains, causing massive uh, floods and flash floods. That's interesting. It looks like with all this massive full of snow, you wouldn't go, oh, well, this is global warming. What you'd more likely think is that Time magazine in 1975, when they predicted an ice age, and that was the cover story for their magazine in 1975, the coming ice age. I remember it very well. It was on my grandmother's coffee table, and I read that article, and I thought, wow, man, there's going to be some good skiing. And I was also a little frightened, going, well, what's going to happen? Where are we going to grow the garden and that kind of stuff? So it made a profound effect on me. So now when I find out that Time Magazine is claiming that this was a doctored internet thing and that there was no cover, something's going on. That I saw it with my own eyes. I read the article in 1975. There was So what are they trying to hide? Is it because they're now behind global warming and they realize that the narrative? By the way, this ongoing racket of extreme weather has been going on for decades and decades. They changed it. It was the ice age, and then it was the hothouse effect, where nuclear weapons were gonna put dust up in the atmosphere and block the sun, creating another ice age, and then we have the global warming. So this is an old thing, and it's very very profitable for the right people. Uh, anyway, congratulations to Time Magazine. You apparently got it right. They were just weeks ago, just last week, they were saying Snowmageddon across the whole American. Well, I mean, yeah, Time Magazine was 55 years early, so, but nevertheless, have compassion for struggling people in these times. There's a story about an orphan and a farmer, and the orphan saw the farmer tacking up a sign, and it said "puppies for sale." And the boy goes, "I want a puppy." And the farmer goes, "I don't think so. I'm sorry, son, but these are expensive puppies." And he goes, "Do you have any money?" He goes, "Well, I got 39 cents." And the farmer had some compassion. He goes, "All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a look and see what we have here." So he calls his dog out, and the dog comes trotting out with 4 proud puppies following the dog out. And then a 5th puppy kind of staggers out of the doghouse and kind of stumbles far, straggling behind the others. And the boy goes, "That's the one I want." And the farmer goes, "No, no, son, no, you don't want that one. That's the one that is the runt of the litter. You don't want the runt." And the boy says, "Yes, I do." He goes, "No, but son, you can't play with it. When it gets older. You won't be able to play with it. It can't run with you like these other ones can. It's not going to have the energy and the athleticism that these other puppies have." And the boy goes, "Yeah," but he pulls up his pant leg and shows him his prosthetic leg, and he goes, "Yeah, but that's just like me. I'm like that, and I won't be able to run with the other kids either. And I understand this puppy, and I understand what he's going through, and that's what we need to do is understand what people are going through in tough times. We don't judge them because they made a bad decision and didn't invest in the same companies that we did or whatever. No, no, we need to have compassion for people who are suffering." Uh, and there are going to be plenty of people of suffering because the foreclosure rates are set to rise in 2023, and according to Peak Foreclosure. Several reasons for it. One, the Congressional Budget Office expects inflation to rise 3.1% in 2023. That's right, you heard it right here on the underground. Inflation is not over. It's just beginning. We're going to see more of it in 2023, another 3%. So if you thought things were expensive now, now's a good time to start cutting back and cutting back on your expenses. Cancel your cable TV, cancel unnecessary expenses. 2, an escalation of the Ukraine war. Okay, that's gonna cause gas prices to go even higher. All that grain that was gonna be sent around from the Ukraine, that's not going to happen. So we're going to have raises in food prices all around the world. China's continuance of the zero COVID policy means the supply chain is interrupted. That's going to cause a rise of prices. So we're going to see inflation there. The foreclosure rates going up, and as interest rates rise and everything gets more expensive, more people are pushed over the edge and pushed into foreclosure. So that's certainly going to be a problem. Ongoing layoffs. About half of employers are expecting to lay people off in 2023, and there's already been massive layoffs. So you're going to see more of that coming. Again, more foreclosures. and a lot of people when they want to sell, well, guess what? Now it's a buyer's market, and you're going to have to get with your realtor and find out how to price it right to sell and have it because it's a falling market. You price it here and the market goes like that. So uh, these are tough times, and we do need to have compassion for those. At the same time, people are paying more than ever. It's like everything is so the food is so much more expensive every time you go to the store. Egg prices have more than tripled in some states. In California right now, it's $7.37 for a dozen eggs. That's outrageous. At the same time, now keep in mind, while all these people are suffering, the rich are getting richer and richer and richer, particularly the governing class who seem to have deals that nobody else gets. Rolls-Royce heralds momentous year as car sales exceed 6,000 for the first time. That's right. Rolls-Royce has had a record year, and we're going into what some are saying is likely a Great Depression, or at least very close to it, if not indeed a depression. And yet Rolls-Royce is having a record year, and so is Ferrari. We're talking Rolls-Royces are $250,000 to buy a Rolls-Royce, and they're selling more than ever. So that's going on. That could cause problems when you have this insular group of people who are uh, just raking it in, particularly if they're corrupt and they have it on their conscience and they have fear because some of them know that they, let's say, are doing things they shouldn't be doing. And by the way, I don't say that that's a common thing among wealthy people, not at all, but certainly among let's say some politicians, for example. Um, if that was going on, which we of course know it isn't, but let's say it was going on, then those people might be paranoid. They might become paranoid, and we've seen what happened when people want to cling to power. We saw what happened in Portland, Oregon, when they were burning down the city practically, or parts of the city, in order to for political reasons. We saw the same thing in Seattle in the Summer of Love. When people they're destroying a section of the city, and people are actually being murdered and raped, and the police and fire department won't even enter that part of the city, and the mayor is cheering on the whole thing. Unbelievable. And we see it in Minneapolis where they were uh, burning down cities, and we saw it in Buffalo recently with um, looting of stores because of a snowstorm. It gives them an excuse to do it. So yeah, there's chaos in Brazil, but we could see the same thing here when people with a upcoming election, and when people are tempted to, whether you could call it psych ops or you could call it choreography, whatever you do. Shakespeare said, "All the world's a stage." Let's just hope there's no stage master planning anything for this upcoming election. So there you go. That's Roger Weston and the. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.